About 25 away from 3. Let's see what is happening with India as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Well, it seems they're opening up their borders to visitors. Now, you'll know the country is going to start issuing tourist visas from next week. India under very strict lockdowns since March of last year, some saying even stricter than ours in a bid to contain the spread of COVID-19. So has it worked? What's the tourism going to look like? And are people going to come back? Always a pleasure. Prasad Kunduri, former senior associate editor at the Tribune India. Prasad, hello. Always a pleasure speaking to you. So is this good news or is government jumping the gun?
Good afternoon to all the viewers at ENC, and nice to be back with you people. Well, it's good news to the extent that over the last few weeks, the COVID cases have shown a sharp decline. As we speak, we have something like, say, 20,000 cases a day, which, as you know, as you mentioned, from the peak of almost 400,000 per day in the month of April when we had the second wave, it's really sharply down. Added to it is the very serious and very high energy drive to get people the jabs. And again, as we speak, 940 million plus people have received the first dose, and almost 250 million plus both the doses, just like as I have, just to give you a pointed case. So as we see, the government of India has kind of incrementally decided to open up the tourism sector. They're not opening it all at one go. So as they issue visa, the stricture is that it will be open to chartered flights. Because it will be easier to have a tab on the people coming in, look at the vaccination certificates which are being accepted in this country, and keep a better control instead of the single entry visas which were the norm worldwide travel before everybody went into the kind of lockdowns. We saw different varieties across the globe. So the government of India feels confident, and most importantly, October onwards is some kind of a tourist season in the north of India in particular. The weather is good. We are entering autumn. From now on to December, the weather will be very good for many people who travel from the Western hemispheres and the western part of the world.
Prasad, has there been much criticism and has there been much opposition to India's government opening the borders? Obviously, for tourism, we all want borders to open, but with such a populous country, I can't imagine everybody is on board with opening borders because they're concerned about numbers going up again.
There are two things one must keep in mind. A, as I mentioned, the kind of drive that we are having in terms of the jabs. B, people are traveling within the country. The travel restrictions have severely eased over the last few months. That is the one reason why government feels, and the people also feel confident as compared to earlier times. So these are the two factors that are playing up on mind. And most importantly, as you would also appreciate, the hospitality industry has taken a severe beating in this last 1 year. And industry which generates billions of dollars and also hundreds and thousands of jobs, not directly and also indirectly. So it's time, as you start looking and opening up the economy, to try and bring back those revenues and also ensure that those sectors start coming back up on the feet.
Let's talk quickly, if we could, about the year before COVID-19, Prasad. 10.9 million visitors. It's almost a fifth of our population coming to India as tourists. We now look at COVID-19, obviously wanting to open borders, wanting to get tourism going. Does India have something like a red, yellow, green list like the UK did? Or once it's open, it is open to all countries?
What the government of India is doing, as we understand, is having different certificates ratified by bilaterally, because there is no universal access pass that is being talked about. So India is having a bilateral arrangement with people with whom they have arrangements for acceptance of the certificates. So that's one way of getting ahead. Of course, countries where there is a pandemic is high, they go on the zones, they don't come into, they have the travel restrictions. The Indian tourism and the Indian government and the Indian all websites are constantly updating the kind of protocols that will be in place. Many countries, they have already done away with quarantine, but this is largely on bilateral basis. As you may know, recently India and UK had a bit of an issue on this issue of free entry. And notably, very recently, UK has allowed vaccination certificates issued by India to be recognized by them. And India has accepted their UK and have done away with the travel quarantine restrictions. So they are easing up. But as you say, there are different gradations depending on the severity at where the COVID is prevalent in parts of the world.
Well, Prasad, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. Here's to all the best with the tourism sector opening up. What a pleasure. Prasad Kunduri, former senior associate editor at the Tribune India, joining us here on ENCA about the situation over in India.